And okay, publish, posted successfully. Tennessee. Copying. Predictions posted successfully. Michigan. Published predictions. Predictions posted successfully. Michigan, 4 digits. Okay. 6532 9230 5332 5320 7141 $$ on fire 4441 and 3221 and bum bum bum. Let's go 1 2 2 2 and paste. Okay, Ohio. Copy. Grand Rising, Grand Rising. Share live. I'm publishing my predictions as we speak all around the world. Same song. 5082 is extremely strong. Seen that one a few times. 24 to 48 hours. Ladies and gentlemen, this is for informational purposes only. This information that I am sharing is for investment purposes only. I am not an advocate, nor do I promote gambling. Copy text. So what you see me doing right now is taking information that I have shared with my VIP members on my private Discord channel. And what I do is I take that information and I carefully curate it to go onto the website that I have. And I put nothing but what I promise and what I guarantee will manifest. In just a few seconds, I will go over the results of my big money pattern manifestations for yesterday. I might even go a little deeper and get some. So watch out for 077 Black Sheep Double. If you know, then you know. You got 298 and 268. Black Sheep, Black Sheep. These are for Ohio. 2 states before, 2 states after their drawings. Florida. Nine, 7, 4. 9, 7, 5. 8, 3, 5. 9, 7, 3. 503. Black Sheep 123. Black Sheep 123. 124. Triple dollar sign. Heavy on the stars. Watch out for 405 Black Sheep. You got 556 and 565. Doubles. 266 will be rolling out straight. 880, black sheep, 16, 7, and 25. And let's get rid of that box. Publish predictions. Predictions posted successfully. Okay, Florida. You got 25000502. You got 3146. You got 0521. 9591. Those are your top four. 9520, top five. Triple dollar signed it. 9475, only big money pattern on fire. You got 4314, one of my favorites. And 9431. Very last number you see will manifest first. Let's get rid of this box. Let's publish it. Predictions posted successfully. Okay, North Carolina. Six 8621 7543 9570 guaranteed. 9070 guaranteed. 8631 promised. Triple dollar signed it. 8734 only big money pattern on fire. 6520 9707 and 9730. So as you see, in most cases, your top four is right there. And then you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4 and 5 is 9. 9 numbers. Not bad, ladies and gentlemen. Not bad at all. You got one black sheep, 9707 and 6520. All other numbers are either guaranteed or promised. Your black sheep are just guaranteed to make their debut because nobody will be thinking about those combinations. Therefore, the lottery commissions have set an algorithm up to where they will pay out on the numbers that are least wagered on. North Carolina 241. Did that take? I don't know. Two 214. 139 promised. 764 guaranteed. You got 235 once again guaranteed. 762 number 5 promised. You got 269 on fire. You have 569, 928. These numbers are black sheep, meaning very few people will be making wagers on those combinations. All states. 127, 322, double on fire. And 336. Very last number you see will manifest first. That is the sum of 10, 1, and 19, 4-digit 28. Watching out for 569928, black sheep, black sheep. 966 is a black sheep, and and 550 is a black sheep. Okay. You got Georgia. These are all states. (203, 302, 579, number 2, promised, 306, guaranteed, number 3, number 4, guaranteed, specifically, 104, promised, the number 5, number, triple dollar signed as proof, heavy on the stars. You got your 259. You got your you got your 347. 347. You got your 212. You have your 050. Watch out for 646. Black sheep, black sheep. You got 857, you got 850, you got 416 and 70 deuce. Publish. Okay. Georgia. All states. One 773 7371 7381 2565 7361 2098 heavy promised 2807 only combination on fire. Okay, 7362 extremely strong, extremely strong. And 4851. Very last number you see will manifest first. Texas, all states. 6725 7365 6735735 Okay, let me go back and check out what I did wrong with Texas here. Okay. Yep, sure is the okay. It was 721952941773. We got 628254203. All right, so let's go back. Uh, 1773. That was actually Texas, I think. Let me go make sure. Nope, that's Georgia. 378-652-595-161. All right, and we have 67350312. All right, so I see where the mix-up is now. All right, so we have 6735. That's right. '98, '94, Black Sheep, Black Sheep. Add a box. 24, 24, quad fours. You got 8, 4, 8, 8, and 7, 2, 6, 1. Okay. All right. So you got 161. 161. All right. Let's take this down. 161, watch out for 738, watch out for 710-689-916. Guaranteed 137243. Your black sheep 332. Watch out for 224 next. This is your only big money pattern on fire. What does it say? 126 to 24. I also guarantee that you will see it in your state. Stop asking me, do I do New York? Stop asking me, do I do Louisiana? I do all states. So when you don't get a response, that's because you're not reading. I don't answer questions that are already answered in the prediction. Your state is all states. Okay, so that was 126. 2 days later, most cases, I can make it happen in 24 to 48 hours. I did that straight right there. Promise straight. 0128. Today is 0129. Okay, so let's go take a look at what I can do with that combination. Hold on a minute here. Let's do this. Okay, so we're going to see 233. Write this down. You're going to see 422. You're going to see 873, 608, black sheep, 843, black sheep, 067, black sheep, 349, black sheep, 701, black sheep. No, I'm not going to make that a black sheep. That will roll out on the triple dollar sign, number 5, promised. 698961, 173 guaranteed, and 234 guaranteed. Okay. Let's go over here. That's 161. 161. Texas night drawing. Okay. All right, let's get right to it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to take you back yesterday. I want you to pay close attention to triple dollar signs, the number 1, the number 2, fire. Okay, we'll start off right here. Appreciate the love. Ladies and gentlemen, 0258 dropped on January 27th. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, To win, this is a prerequisite to join my VIP. You must focus on the top five. Check it out. One, two, three. Now, keep reading. If you notice, to win, you focus on the top five. They will manifest 119 to 127. Ladies and gentlemen, this number dropped on 127. Remember, this is for investment purposes only. So, again, here you go. Black Sheep will tell you exactly what numbers will be drawn because hardly anyone will be thinking about wagering on them. Here we go again. 4631. Guaranteed to win. Focus on my top five four digits. They will manifest 119 to 127. Deadline met again on the number four. 1234. You see it for yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, here I go showing off again. Consistency. As you can see, to win, focus on the top five four digits. They will manifest 123 to 131, guaranteeing the number 36431. That's twice. Ladies and gentlemen, 105. Ladies and gentlemen, Black Sheep don't lie. Straight and on time, 123 to 131, Florida. Here I go again, promising the number one big money pattern. You see it for yourself, 122 to 130. Ladies and gentlemen, 7148. Ladies and gentlemen, I guaranteed to win. Focus on my top five four digits. They will manifest 118 to 127. Again, deadline met on the number four big money pattern. Here I go showing off again. Promise the very last number you see would manifest first. You see it for yourself. 126 to February 4th. Great investments. Congratulations, winners. Ladies and gentlemen, 8625. Ladies and gentlemen, you see it for yourself. The very last number you see, 122 to 131 in Tennessee. Here I go showing off again. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, to win, focus on my top five four digits. They will manifest. Ladies and gentlemen, this was for Tennessee. Tennessee for Tennessee. You see it for yourself right there. 126 to 23. Great investment. Ladies and gentlemen, 2547. You see it for yourself. Triple dollar signed it. 124 to 21. Tennessee. Ladies and gentlemen, 662. Ladies and gentlemen, Black Sheep on time, straight, 662. Between the dates, 126 and 23. Here I go showing off again. Promise the only number on fire. You see it for yourself. To win the fire, promised. 122 to 130. Here you go, 125. Ladies and gentlemen, promise the number one big money pattern, straight 125 to 22. Ladies and gentlemen, 132. Ladies and gentlemen, triple dollar signed it, 126 to 24. Promised. Ladies and gentlemen, guaranteed to manifest straight 132. You see it for yourself in the number four position. 1, 2, 3, 4. To win, focus on the top five three digits. Number four, straight. Congratulations, Carmel, 85. Ladies and gentlemen, 2006. Ladies and gentlemen, The black sheep on time 123 to 131. Ladies and gentlemen, 093. Ladies and gentlemen, I promised the VIP 093 would manifest straight. 122 to 130 drops on 127. Ladies and gentlemen, 122 on the number on fire. 125 to 22. Ladies and gentlemen, 5914. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, triple dollar signed it. Told my VIP, hey, look, this will manifest. Very last number you see will manifest first. Ladies and gentlemen, 8113. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, the black sheep on time. North Carolina, 4, North Carolina. Ladies and gentlemen, 797. Ladies and gentlemen, 797. Only big money pattern on fire. Straight, 127. Same day. Ladies and gentlemen, 3, 4, 5, 7. Ladies and gentlemen, triple dollar signed it. North Carolina, 4, North Carolina. Very last number you see will manifest first. You see it for yourself. 121 to 129 drops on 127. Here we go. We got 9480. You're going to see a lot of that number. Promise to manifest. Number 1, big money pattern, 125 to 22. Here I go showing off black sheep 9480 to manifest straight on 127. Ladies and gentlemen, 4784. Ladies and gentlemen, guaranteed to manifest to 128 to 24. Drops on 127. Ladies and gentlemen, you see it for yourself. 23, 203, 203, very strong, extremely strong. That's a black sheep at 3:52 a.m. or 3:57 a.m. 203, black sheep. Here we go. Promise to manifest 230, triple dollar signed it, 125 to 22. You got 756, number 1 big money pattern. Number 1 big money pattern, Texas. Here you go, 2666. Ladies and gentlemen, promise straight, 2666. Ladies and gentlemen, 517. Ladies and gentlemen, 517 promised for New York at 3:57. We knew. Ladies and gentlemen, you got your 0495 promise, 0495 New York, 126 to 23 straight. Here you go again, 650 New York, 065 is what they dropped. Ladies and gentlemen, 2648 8462. Triple dollar signed it as proof. The very last big money pattern you see will manifest first. 125 to 22. Here you go again, promised twice. Triple dollar signed it as proof. Ladies and gentlemen, 075. Ladies and gentlemen, triple dollar signed it 21 hours before it debuted. You got your 378, ladies and gentlemen. Check it out. Look at that. Number 1. Only number. That's a cheat sheet, ladies and gentlemen, and you see it for yourself. And ladies and gentlemen, I got that number from this prediction to win. Focus on the top 5 3 digits. I promise the first 2, 121 to 129. Ladies and gentlemen, you got 5833. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, the number one motherfucking big money pattern, Texas. Woo! Right there. Oh, and that was for 124 to 22. Ladies and gentlemen, 7219, Texas. Ladies and gentlemen, promise the top two. You see it for yourself right there, 127 to 24. Black sheep, right there. Told you, 123 to 21. Here you go again, 628. Ladies and gentlemen, 628. Promise to manifest straight, 127 to 24. Ladies and gentlemen, 167. Promise to manifest straight, number one big money pattern, 125 to 23. Here you go, 599. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, 995, 5 hours only to see the promise happen. Ladies and gentlemen, you got your 0951 only motherfucking big money pattern on fire. 119 to 128 drops on 128. Whoa! Y'all see that? Let's go up one. Look at that. Promised. 1509, big money pattern. 123 to 21. Here you go, 804. Look at that right there. That's a cheat sheet, ladies and gentlemen. North Carolina, Tennessee. Whoa! Y'all see it for yourself. There you go. This is where I got it from. Told you it would happen. Told you it was going to happen on 128. It happened on 128 for investment purposes only. You got your 652. Ladies and gentlemen, promise the number one motherfucking big money pattern. You see it for yourself. 122 to 131. Ladies and gentlemen, 2783. Ladies and gentlemen, you see it for yourself. I triple dollar signed it. Told you the very last number you see, I will make it manifest first. And that was Tennessee for Tennessee. 6 hours ago, I promised that number, only number on fire would manifest. How can you miss? A 5-year-old can pick out fire. Ladies and gentlemen, 834. Ladies and gentlemen, promise to manifest straight, 834. To win, focus on my top 5. I promise the first two. Manifest, Tennessee, 122 to 130. Ladies and gentlemen, 464. Ladies and gentlemen, only motherfucking big money pattern on fire. Between the dates 121 and 129. Here you go again, 549. Ladies and gentlemen, 13 hours before it debuted. You see it guaranteed, the number 4. To win, focus on the top 5. Here you go, 9167, January 28. Ladies and gentlemen, promise the top 2 would manifest, 125 to 22. Ladies and gentlemen, 347. Ladies and gentlemen, I promise 347 would manifest in Ohio between the dates 128. So on 128, 23 hours before it debuted, I told you, I don't practice this, but in most cases, I can make it happen. I made it happen. Ladies and gentlemen, 556. Ladies and gentlemen, only big money pattern on fire, 126 to 23, 556 straight. Ladies and gentlemen, there it is again. Ladies and gentlemen, 8621, January 28th. Ladies and gentlemen, 8621 straight. 127 to 24. Excellent prediction. Ladies and gentlemen, 241. Ladies and gentlemen, 241. Ladies and gentlemen, 254. Ladies and gentlemen, 254. Straight. ladies and gentlemen. 203, ladies and gentlemen, number one big money pattern, straight. Ladies and gentlemen, 5294, ladies and gentlemen, 2495, 1773, January 28, 2006, 7731, black sheep, not lying, 6593, 6593, promised, straight, same day. 0312, January 28th, ladies and gentlemen, promised, top two, 128, 122 to 130. I told you would see it. You got 6735, January 28th, ladies and gentlemen, number one motherfucking big money pattern for Texas. Ladies and gentlemen, 907. Okay, these were from 2025. 2025. 2025. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's look at today's date. Let's see here. So they gave us your 1320 already. I told you it would drop, but nobody's listening to Mr. Bascomb. Okay. 63. Okay. How many people remember this list right here? That dropped straight yesterday. Okay, I'm going to take me a slight break, ladies and gentlemen. I shall return after the predictions drop, and let's see here. That'll be 10:30 for Tennessee. 11, around about 11, I will see Texas. 12:30 Georgia. 12:45 Ohio. Michigan, 1 p.m. Florida, about a quarter to 2, and North Carolina, about 5 minutes after 3. Remember, this is all states, and you will see these numbers